with apologies. What apologies have we received for this evening?
We received apologies from Councillor Tully and Councillor T's chairs with Sir Fernandez.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Right. The next item is declaration of interest. Is there any declaration of interest from members of any items this evening? Fernandez.
It's probably not a pecuniary, but I'm ward member for one of the planning applications that's on the list tonight.
Thank you very much. Are there any others? Right, minutes to approve and sign it as a correct record of the minutes of the previous planning committee held on the 19th of February. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to state that for all the records, the submission was sent to MHCLG on the private estate management consultation. It was circulated to all councillors as its submission, which is confirmed for the record.
Very much. Yeah, I don't see any issues with the minutes, and I'm happy with that. So if that's the case, could I get a proposal to support? Councillor Furman, could I get a seconder? Councillor Stainthorpe, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is forward plan. Members to note the planning, development and licensing forward plan. Has everybody had a chance to read through it? Is there anything that's been highlighted that you think that you're sure on that or happy with it? Yep. Okay. Could I get a proposed to support? Councillor Stainthorpe, could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. I would just like to note that we've received a letter from a couple called Roger and Jeanette Redmond, and they were just talking about the Troll area, which just wanted to note, but I would like them, if we could, ask them to attend the annual town meeting to ask the same question. I think this has been picked up anyway, but it's just noting on this committee because obviously they've brought it for about some 20 miles an hour limits around the roundabouts and road humps, etc. So yeah, Troll Road North. So it's just to note it, Marcus.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think we've been in dialogue with Mr. and Mrs. Redmond through the LCN and the issues with Troll Road, and obviously there will now be a feasibility study being put forward, funded by councillors, and there's last night as part of the WMIS scheme. So I think the issues raised in that will be picked up. There is a SID that covers Troll Road as well, so those things will feed into any traffic measures proposed. Thank you.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, okay, perfect. Right, the next item is an update on the Neighbourhood Development Working Group. Members to know the update from the Neighbourhood Development Working Group. I wasn't actually well enough to attend, so I asked Marcus for an update. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So the meeting was most recently on the 12th of March. I'd say there's quite a lot of sickness that affected the meeting. I think we only had a couple of attendees, which was unfortunate, but we've got the aims and objectives document on your agenda tonight to go through. And essentially it was just talking about the upcoming consultation on that document and discussing the comments and actions arising from that. So
yeah, no worries. Thank you. The next item is Neighbourhood Development Plan, aims and objectives. Members to consider and agree the initial set of aims and objectives for the Neighbourhood Development Plan in readiness for the consultation. Shall pass over to Marcus. I think we'll probably be click on the first item. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the covering report, Chair, and the actual appendix is the substantive document. I think you've seen a draft of it before at this committee. It's been fed into and with the members of the public that joined the working group in the new year, they've contributed to it, and now it's got to a point where it's ready for consultation with the public. And then once we've had that consultation with the public, it will then be revised yet again before being finalised. So this is the final draft ready for consultation, but it won't be the final version, if that makes sense. So Angela from our financial resilience lead is assisting with this project now alongside Ollie, who's not in the room, but doing a good job as well of helping us. And she's written this report, covering report to and then say, yeah, you as a committee can consider and agree this, so that it's ready for consultation. We're planning to have a stand at the annual town meeting next week, so launch things, and then thereafter there will be a formal consultation period of about 6 weeks, and we're aiming to sort of hold them in various different localities within Taunton, utilising the village halls, so really going out there into the different communities and getting feedback on their thoughts on this document. But happy to take any questions, Chair.
I'm really chuffed to see us get to the point where we're going for the first round of consultation. It's been a lot of work, a lot of hours has been put into this, and also to get that influence from members of the public, whether they work or live in Taunton, definitely shows this transparency from the get-go. Having looked through it, I do not see any issue at all with this, and I'm more than happy for it to go out as consultation. Councillor Fernandez.
Chair, just a quick question. Has our climate officer Jordan had a look at this with reference to anything with the climate? It was not obviously because I'm not a member of the committee, it's just looking if there's been an overview or if our climate officers had a look at to see if there's anything that needs to be added.
Thank you. I believe she has. I do need to double check whether it's an earlier version, but she definitely has at some point through the process. The climate plan was used to inform. So a lot of our documents, like the culture strategy, everything was sent to Stuart, our consultant. So that's what we've sort of already signed up to. Our corporate plan, our our aims, objectives, our tree management policy, and things like that. So all of that's been fed into pulling this together, so it should all align with what we've been saying and doing as a town council already. But
yeah, so it's just whether obviously she's looked at it, she's happy with what's in it. If it's a working document, it it's just to sort of a glance over it, just to make sure that those views have been captured. Thank you.
one other thing, sorry, there was the river rights thing raised.
Yes.
And that was sent into the consultant as well, so he's fed that into this as well. So
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any other? I was, like I said, really chuffed to see it's at the point of consultation. So yeah, thank you. Do we need to? I guess we need to develop this as well. Yeah. So to support this, to go for consultation, could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Furman, could we get a seconder? Councillor Stainford, could we go to the vote? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is the comment on planning applications received from the local planning authority. The first item is first planning applications 38-26-0061 for planning permission, erection of first floor extension and 2-story extension to the side, and a single-story extension to the front for Blackwood Road, Taunton. Okay. We have a look at the existing existing elevation south would be great. Okay, so that's pretty much the front of the property. It's got a garage currently, and what they're actually planning on doing is doing an extension out to the left in line with the existing garage. So if we have a look at the proposed south, blended it over and obviously extended the porch out with small bellets as well. It does say, if you look on that page there, the hyphens in the bottom right corner, they highlight all of the items in which the new parts are going to be addressed. So it's matching existing. Yeah, pretty plain sailing. Yeah, straightforward.
Yeah, there was no comments, so there was no objections to it. See, it's been an issue.
It'd be good to see.
Was the street view?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Because it's always just seeing what it's like in terms of the neighbouring properties.
From it's a property that will come up later on. Seeing that I've had a look at it, it's surprising looking at an application like that, it's fine. But then actually looking at street view gives you a second opinion as well.
Yeah, and if it's gonna, we've got link
Oh,
detached,
yeah.
it's not such an issue, but it's where it's, if it's not link detached and they're coming up property to property, then it's access to managing, you know, walls in between and things like that, so.
The only thing I was going to say is on the side of that property, there's currently a window that looks over to the other window. And all I was going to say on the new extension, so that would be south, west.
Any windows there?
Yeah, if we have a look at the west elevation proposed, whether there's a window.
Yeah,
It's a lot closer to the.
yeah, for sure.
No, so
No,
no-
it's not, yeah, I didn't think there was any windows there, so.
And they've just,
No issues with overlooking.
No.
and there's the issues.
there's still plenty of room for parking, so
Exactly.
no, happy.
So to support this application, could I get a proposal? Councillor Lester, could I get a seconder? Councillor Stainford, can we go to the vote? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 7.2, which 38-26-0068 report planning commission. Installation of access gates for paddle centre at Queen's College, Taunton. Okay, so we have a look at the proposed gate plan and elevation. Straightforward. Go back.
Yeah, almost not looked at it. Yeah, to give.
I sometimes,
Well,
the
it's anyway.
fact that planning is required, I find slightly baffling.
For a gate.
Yeah, it depends where it's.
Sorry, I'm trying
the
to think actually where this.
It's
Yeah,
up the
it's
side,
traffic.
this is, if you look, there's one, which it does give you a location plan, you'll see
That's it.
where the actual gate is, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in a bit. So it's
Oh, I
the little lane going
Mm.
down between sort of Queensway and,
That's the way into it as well.
yeah, and it's completely away from the road, it's.
Are there going to be issues with, nobody's going to park downtown?
Yes.
You can't go
So
down.
the parking itself is, if we have a look at that picture set, if we zoom in, it's pretty much, if we zoom out a sector. I think the parking is going to be round about
Yeah, up the front, it'll come in off the Troll Road.
things up here. I think for maintenance, there is a maintenance area which they're currently storing things in around here at the moment.
Because, well, that's the substation, the massive electricity substation.
Yeah, it's up.
The only, I suppose, the only potential concern is,
Which side's the helipad? You know, with the
and
emergency.
that's
on the other
that's
side.
the other side. The only thing is, we know we have problems with parking
Yeah.
on College Way.
Mhm.
Is there a possibility we're gonna end up people parking along College Way,
It's
coming from
closer.
the other end, because actually it'll be closer to that entrance.
Mm.
And College Way is already this hotspot of arguments to do with the hospital and da. We may end up having to, if that's used a lot, we may end up having to look at potentially putting parking spaces and having, you know, maximum of 2 hours or something, because it could get really busy. And that goes up into that really bad bend going up.
I think for their, the main use for this is obviously going to be people going to Queen's College families. There's no way else of getting in that area, but to go through the Queen's College area.
Was it? Oh, so you can't access it from the other side. You've got to go through the front entrance to get there. Okay. Yeah.
This is just so, yes,
It's a gate, it's a gate within the boundary.
That'll be fine.
Right.
Okay.
It's not gonna be,
I thought it was a public.
No, I must admit, the way I
it's
looked
not
at it, I thought it was
public.
public as well.
That's not a problem.
Fine.
I suppose it'll be,
Excuse me.
fire type exit.
Any other comments? No? Okay, so supports the application, create a proposal. Councillor Lester, create a seconder. Councillor Stainford, can we go to the vote? That's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 7.3, which is 38-26-0073 CMA. Class MA notification, application to determine if prior approval is required for a change of use and conversion from commercial, business and service use, class E, into a 1 number of dwelling, class C3 of the first floor of 2 Magdalene Street, Taunton. Okay, if we have a look at the existing floor plans at the moment, elevation, and then we'll look at the proposed. Just to be honest, this section here from memory, it like lifts over. Okay, and then we'll have a look at the proposed for that area. It's a white area that's getting up. Add it there. That's it. Anything that wasn't given was size of rooms. That was the only
Dimensions.
There's no dimensions, which was one of our favourite subjects. As the
So there is a dining area, so it doesn't suggest it's too small, to be honest.
That is a point. There is some sizes there.
are they down in the?
Existing retail units. So
33 square meters.
footage was 73.6 square.
That's,
So you
yeah,
can see
that's
that.
2 bedrooms.
Sitting room's pretty generous.
No, it's 70 odd square meters is I think fine. for
It should be fine, because
flat,
even
yeah.
if you took it down to
Yeah.
half that size,
Yeah.
it's still going to be the same.
Yeah, it's got
Don't-
2
don't see a
bedrooms.
problem.
No.
I mean, bedroom 2 is small, but it's a second bedroom. Almost in right. Because I mean, if you look at it, where would you put wardrobe in there?
Kind of.
Yeah. It's because it's got a massive window, isn't it? You are a bit restricted where you can put a wardrobe.
You've put like cupboards outside there, haven't they? In bedroom 1, the cupboards.
You put the bed against the wall, that's what you do.
Yeah. The problem is that bedroom 2, I mean, where they would put a wardrobe in there, I would struggle to find that, but it's a bedroom 2. Even if it's a bedroom for a child, but then they have a cabin bed type thing, I suppose.
Scaling up the doors, it's actually not that small a room. And as well, you could always put the bed on the other wall, and then you could have storage all across
The
the
problem,
bed.
as you say, is actually the size of the window.
Yeah,
It's a
you
bit
can't do
random.
you can't put anything on the outside, but they've done as good a job as they can, I think, with the layout they've been given.
They say they probably put the bed actually just behind the door, and then
I think what was quite good is
It's a shower as
a
well.
lot of people would have just
Turned it
made
into 2.
that cupboard, made the bathroom slightly
a
bigger.
bit bigger.
They've actually
Yeah.
created a cupboard for storage for bedroom 1 or 2.
Yeah, no, I think, to be honest, I think a lot of people would have tried to make it into 2. So I'm happy
And
with
I think it's good, and it's good use of property that wasn't being utilised. At the end of the day, we need housing, and we need it,
Yeah.
where we can use up
Yeah.
existing buildings.
We're on the same page?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so to support this application, could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Lester, can we get a second?
That's on the bounce now. Someone else,
Okay,
come
the
on,
vote, please.
listen up.
Come on, guys.
I'm just biding my time.
All right. You're playing the long game,
Just
Bev.
pacing ourselves. Don't be too keen.
Next planning application 7.4, which is 38-26.
Actually, it's going to have to be someone else next time.
Planning permission, we're actually to the first floor. Extension of the garage, the side of 3 Westacott Gate, Taunton. So, having a look at this seems to be rather a large house. And at first I couldn't actually make out where the extension actually was. And then going back and forth from the property, it made sense. So if we have a look on the existing elevation. Seems to be extension there is pretty much that bit there, and then the Deane across.
As you say, it's a big house.
So if we go on propose now,
It's a nice house.
obviously they are blocking in those bottom windows, which seems strange because
Yeah, you're right. There's no window tax.
they might just give more areas to maybe storage or whatever. So you can't put like covers in front of windows, can you? So, yeah, it's a big old house. Everything was matching to existing.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't see
I
any.
think it would be lovely. Well,
Councillor Froman, sorry.
I'll propose to approve.
Yeah, no worries. So you're my proposer. And Councillor Fernandez, give yours the vote, please. It's carried. Thank you very much. I'm going to sit back a little
Well,
bit. Councillor Furman.
like if Simon was out the room.
That's the worst seat to sit in.
It is a worst seat.
Chair
Nobody,
can't see you,
nobody
you have to
sees
go.
It could sit there for hours. We say.
Yeah, so the next item is 7.5, which is 38-26. Dash 008. Floor planning permission, direction, single story extension to the side for use of the garage with ancillary accommodation above and alterations to the driveway, 15 Highlands, Taunton. Might be wrong, but I remember we had planning application come up here like maybe last year.
Yeah. First of all, there's positive comments. It gets support from the neighbour. So,
Yeah, I see.
for me, it's always one of the.
We'll have a look at the existing elevations and plans, second from the bottom, and then we'll look at the fourth from bottom. Go back on the existing set, they put the solar panels as well, the solar panels.
No, we're on the existing. No, we're on the existing.
Nice.
Don't see any problems. It was good to see the neighbours happy with it.
Absolutely. I mean,
It looks like there's plenty of room for it.
this is the thing. There's plenty of space, and even when you look where the extension is, there's no side windows in that even to be a problem.
No.
When it's,
Is there any questions or any?
No.
Go with it.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay, go so to support the application, accept the those.
it's not. Go on,
No, come out. Councillor Fernandez, second there. Councillor Furman, let's go to the vote.
I think you'd already started when I came in, so
Carried.
just,
You're not. Like
I'm not allowed. That's two I've missed now.
Yeah,
Cruelty.
you've ended your run. Your run is pretty so.
The next item is 38-26-0080-A, advertisement display 2, number of internally illuminated fascia sign, 1 number of internally illuminated projection sign, 5, number of vinyl graphics.
Them again.
No,
It's not, I know, I'm reading it.
no.
Yeah. So I'll look at the,
I'm not sure I could see any different.
when I seen that,
Aye.
when I seen that list of things there, I seen phosphate and I thought, why is phosphate on this? For a roadside bit. Those shot from the signage detail would be great, please. Third from the top.
This.
Yeah, that'd be great.
With a bit of view.
Just looks like they're upgrading.
Yeah.
I don't really see much.
Match for match, really.
It's so different.
Slightly different typeface for the.
It's like a border instead of the two red
Yeah,
blocks.
different typeface, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't see any problem.
Oh.
Okay, any queries?
No.
Okay, so
It smells peachy.
support this, great proposer. That's Furman, great second then. That's Leicester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried, thank you very much. The next item is 38-26-0076. Planning Commission, erection of one number of detached dwellings at the side of 131 Gallington Road, Taunton.
So this is the property
Oh.
next to 133
Yep.
that
So I
we
think-
had questions over the last time when 133 came up to do with access.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
What I was quite impressed about this application is the extra things that they've put in wouldn't get with 99% of other developments. So you've got solar, you've got EV chargers, you've got e-box, all of those things.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes it's reason why.
If a developer was good enough, they put in the proper plan and permission for the drop curbs in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you start putting things in to make it look better to try and get it to go through? Just,
Yeah, just put it
Being-
out there.
you know, I have a real problem with this. They knew there was issues before with previous what they did where they put in a drop curb without planning permission. We now have another drop curb without planning permission, or we believe it's without planning. If you can go on to the
street scene.
street scene,
Mm.
it will show you what it claims in their plan. Can you scroll down? No, I don't think it is this one. It's the, if you go on to could be the proposed elevations. But it actually shows you. Scroll down. Nope.
No.
There is one where it shows you perspectives. Nope. I mean, I think so. Yes. Oh, site
Block
block,
plans.
site location and block plan.
Yeah.
Yes,
there
there it is. So
Let's just make that.
in front of 131, which is the house that's applying for this, and it talks about saying 131 is applying for it, where the previous planning was from 133, but it would appear they're both from the same person. On the left, in 131, you have two cars parked parallel to one another, and then you have a path, and then you have a piece of grass on their plans. That piece of grass does not exist because they've already put a drop curb there. And I have the photographs here if you want to see it. I have a problem with this. There is a crossing to the right-hand side of the property on the right. It's going across to a primary school. We now have what is basically a drop curb that runs from, oh, sorry, Jeff, from the corner of 131 right the way along to here. And these cars are turning, how are they actually, so what I'd like to see also is, where's going to be the boundary of 131? Because on this plan, it looks like these cars would come out here, which would be 131A's access, which we know they're not going to use because they've dropped a curb here without planning. Can't have this, oh, it's dropped curb. This is directly opposite the entrance, the back entrance. Bishop's Henderson School.
But also, and one of my concerns is the park, yes, the parking has been provided. But how are those cars going to get out of those car parking spaces?
Yeah.
If they've got to, you can't reverse onto a main road and you'll be reversing over the pavement. I'm ward member for this particular area. There's been a couple of letters from residents highlighting exactly the same concerns that I've raised and Councillor Stainthorpe's raised
So-
about the drop curves, and I know Marcus has written to Highways about it, and we're yet to receive a reply as to whether permission's been given for those drop curves.
So here are the drop curbs. This is number 131.
Yep.
That's the house they're going to talk about building.
I think I've got some of these first. I can,
Yeah, Marcus is
you
one.
want to get that one?
There is no grass there. There's a big away.
Yeah.
They've put a drop curb on and it's a double.
Send them
line.
to
It's still-
you.
oh, But what's worrying is you can see this is all 6 axis.
Yeah.
So it's right next to the crossing. So you're ending up, this piece of grass here was where they took down the tree previously.
Yeah.
Remember they took down
Yeah.
that tree and they had to replace it. That's what they've been left with. That's the only part, not a drop curb between what's going to be 4 houses. all those cars potentially come out into the road.
What makes it bad is they've left that piece of gravel.
And that little tiny tree that they put in supposedly placed
That was taken down. They shouldn't have taken that tree out.
Yeah,
That's the first thing that started to.
And that was the start of it.
That was the start of it.
And I think when property 133 was extended, I think there was a lot of talk with the residents, and I think although not completely acceptable, at least those cars could clearly get in and out of 133 without having to reverse onto the road. But now
Yeah.
133 and 131A, there's more confined parking.
They're all
and
going
that's
straight. They're not parking sideways. They're going to be facing forward.
Here's a got a highway said about, here we go.
I think on any street, it would be dangerous, but on a street which is a very busy road, Garmington Road is a busy road. We've already, we've had the issues that we know that actually the speed, the SIDS, it had the highest miles per hour clocked on a SID of 103 miles an hour going up that very road. And it's the fact that it crosses over to a primary school.
Yeah.
I go there, I pass it most days, so
Yeah.
my ward's this side of the road, it's the other side. And the number of people who are concerned about young children crossing that road, and you're going to have vehicles all in a row reversing out onto a main road. I just think it's dangerous. So,
Marcus.
Sorry, Chair, yeah, as Councillor Fernandez said, we emailed Highways, for which we haven't had a reply despite Chaser and the planning enforcement team at Somerset Council about this matter. They did say the installation and permission for dropped curbs falls within the Highways remit. Planning enforcement do not get involved unless it involves the creation of a new access, which I understand formed part of the original planning application. We do not deal with the effect on Pelican Crossing, street scene, etc., as this would have been dealt with by the planning officer dealing with the application. And I note the report on the officer's application, so this is the one next door that we looked at last time. States the development provides access and parking for the new and existing dwellings off a classified road and is considered compliant with policy A1 of the local plan and the highway standing advice, and is not considered to give rise to highway safety issues. The license for a dropped curb, which is issued by Somerset Section 184, that's what we're trying to seek to establish whether they have actually sought and paid for one. But they were unable to advise planning enforcement, but they weren't considering it a planning enforcement matter.
The only thing I would like to say that was the material considerations of town council's comments. There's one item, what's two? Number 6, which is inadequate parking, and number 7, access, highway safety and traffic generation.
Yeah.
I think currently, without that property being built, I think 131 one's parking can service and get on and off the highway in a safe manner. I think building 131 A, I think is just increasing highway safety, creating no safety really. Yeah, go for it.
It was just to note, so we've just been looking, there was a previous planning application which was proposed for a drop curb outside 139, which is sort of 3 doors up on the same stretch. It was refused under planning, and the reason given was the proposed development fails to make adequate provision for the manoeuvring and turning of vehicles within the site, which would result in vehicles being required to enter or exit the site in reverse gear. Vehicles entering or exiting the site in reverse would be required to cross the footpath and cycle lane, and would also enter into the Class 3 public highway with consequent risk of additional hazard to all users. It goes on to give some more information, but that was in 2024. They refused planning for pretty similar.
That's supposed to be why there was no application for a drop curb on 131. 131A, that drop curb would have been existing for 131. But because 131, if they put in 131A, they would have to bring a fence line down between those two buildings. 131 That's why they dropped the curb there, because they need the
Mm.
front access for parking for 131. You can't have it.
Mm.
So at the moment, you can't have it because you can't have the access on their side from 131 going across 131A. So that is impossible. But they can't have the drop curb that they've put in there because they haven't put planning for it. And there's also a precedent set because 139 was refused for those reasons that Bryony said,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
safety.
Go for it.
Which is exactly what we've just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to be clear, I've summarised what Bryony said. Effectively, the planning for 139 was refused because they didn't have enough room to turn around and drive in forwards and out forwards from the
Yeah.
property, which I think the picture here illustrates there's definitely not room for that here either.
Oh.
So on that basis, and particularly because we know there's a more drop curve there than the picture shows. I don't. I mean, you can't make the front of the house bigger. So
They could have a house with no parking, put the grass back, take away the drop curb, no parking for 131. Some houses don't have parking, but to me, that's the only way you could have that. And then 131A actually has enough room to turn their vehicles.
Subject to the drop curbs being approved.
A subject to the drop curbs being approved. But even at that, I think it's tight for 131A.
It's tight for
I
all of
think
them.
because existing things have dispensation. So because there's an existing drop curb,
Yeah.
The age of it will dictate that you don't.
Because that was the old house.
You don't need the same amount of turning, but for a new one, I'm sure. Well, you obviously do because 139's been.
Well, originally the line would have been up between
Yeah.
131A and 133. So there was plenty of room. Basically, the space for 4 cars on either side was one side was one house, one side was the other house. They had plenty of turning space at the front of those houses.
What happens then if somebody puts a planning application in and
So why is it
they
different?
put a planning application in and the officer has a look at it and goes, well, how have you got a drop curb? That's not on our records anywhere. Can they revoke that and say it has to be put back to where it should?
No, what they do, and I have seen it before, not in England, but in Scotland, they then have to go in for either retrospective planning for their drop curb. But in the case of if it's a road that really shouldn't have another drop curb, they can be told, and I've seen them being told to put the curb back.
I expect.
It was a strange one because it's not that expensive putting in the application and everything for a drop curb. So then why would you take that risk of putting in a drop curb without planning, unless you actually thought you weren't going to get planning?
Yeah, I think to get your feel from the room, I definitely think number 6, and I think definitely number 7.
Yeah.
Number 6 being adequate parking.
Yeah.
Surface area. Number 7, access, highway safety or traffic generation. I think they have pretty high grounds. If you look at number 39, that got declined.
Yeah.
On
Yes.
a drop curb, let alone build a house.
But there also has to be a comment in there that this plan is inaccurate. There is a drop curb in front of 131,
Yeah.
and that needs to go back to have an application on it. As you say, if there was a drop curb there that had always been there, that might be slightly different, but it's not.
Okay, so if we were to cancel this.
So I was going to say, can we actually because if they had an approved planning for the drop curb they've not illustrated, they'll have evidence that they've got planning permission because you get sent it, don't you? So can we ask for the documents that show that they've had planning permission for that drop curb as an additional, sort of, I don't know how.
Might help Marcus instead of having to go
Yeah.
hunting for the
So,
the actual
so are we commenting or are we just?
objecting, but with comments.
With comment.
I'd say objecting, but needing more information on the drop curb.
Yeah,
Because
because there's nothing wrong with the house itself, to be honest.
Because I'm concerned this,
detail, but also
Yeah.
false detail.
I'm concerned this goes forward to Somerset planning. If they haven't seen the photographs and know the truth on what that actually looks like, they might pass it.
Yeah.
And that's a real worry because it's a safety issue. It's not about not wanting a house there, it's saying it's dangerous.
How do you word that together then, Ollie?
Oh,
So,
master wants.
Subject to.
I continue with consideration 6 and 7, and then the comments about the needing more information. I'll do that under 10. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can be referred to the application that Briley and says,
Yeah.
well, you're not quite sure of the difference.
Yeah, use a reference to the planning application for 39, just a reference. And also, I don't know if we can attach photos to that objection as well. Can we?
I'm not too sure, Chair, but we could probably send them over as part of our comments.
So it's planning with the.
I think so. Councillor Brown?
Could we? Yeah, could we? No, right.
Yeah, that was what- yeah, fine.
Yeah, Ollie, the one that the previous refusal for the next door properties, 38-24-0085.
Okay, Margaret?
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I was just looking at the application that we considered 4133 and then the officer's approval report that gave conditional approval. There was a comment that they acknowledged that unauthorized works to the highway were previously carried out and may be subject to separate action under the Highways Act, but do not have a specific bearing on the consideration of the design variation. Just for information.
That's fine. Let's go do what with it. Okay, so on that account, is everybody happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so to those points,
Yeah.
Could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Stainforth, could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester, could we get to the vote? It's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item is 38-26-0072, full plan permission. Correction of single-story extension to the rear of 20 Spiny.
Spinny.
Spinny. Double A. Spinny.
Spiny.
Spinny.
Right, guys.
Don't get prickly about it.
Another one in my ward.
You can tell when there's been a tricky one, we all get a little bit, a bit ferocious.
This already.
You've been hearing a good thing.
Okay. The only thing I would like to say is that I would like to see where it is.
It's
Greenway, it's a
I
crap.
was asking Siri where the Spiny was, I didn't know where it was.
yeah, it's Parkfield. It's off the Parkfield area, tucked in the corner. Oh yeah, I made a comment, I think, Ollie, about it being a bit close to the extension, being a little bit close to the back fence. Back fence. Did you pick that up as well? But I know, yeah.
It's first of all, it's single story and single story generally, if there's fences, generally aren't looking for overlooking things.
No.
It's more usually about questions of access. Yeah.
If you have a look, there's actually other plumbers that have done flat roofs in other areas
Yeah.
as well. Seems to be like a,
It's quite common for the area. It's just, checking that's not overlooking somebody, and
Yeah.
they have adequate access. Have you got plans there, Ollie?
Yeah.
Oh, is there
a flat roof with like a
Yeah.
pitch roof on the
Mm.
side.
Yeah.
Just I think it's just an extension of a living space,
A
isn't
living
it, from
space,
memory?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think because it's steep as well, the back. I
Yeah,
think
that- yeah,
it's
that-
being
that's the back
extended.
way,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if it's
Does
extending
that-
to the
You have the
the boundary rather than the retaining wall.
That's the back fence.
It is it.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not
Yeah.
the retaining wall half.
No, it's a fence.
It's actually the fence. Okay.
So
Trying in my head to try and pace it out how from here to.
but to be fair, I don't think it will be an issue because basically all you're looking for is access to the building for any maintenance between the fence and the building.
And it's this looks extension.
They've got side access past the garage, and then what's the distance between the rear of it and the back?
Well, it's 3 meters.
3 meters.
Oh, that's fine then.
It's
isn't it?
fine,
fine.
as long as it's
Yeah.
more than a meter. A meter is what they would give.
So yeah, 'cause
guidance
I'm going to say
for.
they still probably want a back garden. So
I
I'm
mean,
guessing
it's maybe not much of a back garden,
Well.
but people don't like that.
No.
Is there any other points we happy with?
No,
That's fine.
seems
What
Yeah.
else did I say, Ollie? I'm just interested because obviously I'm subbing. I have been on planning last year, but if councillors, the ward members, I always, if I can, try and comment on things, and I send them to Ollie. Do they get read out during the meeting, or do you see them?
So they won't get read out, but we submit comments
Right. Okay.
as a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent them round to the committee beforehand as
Fine.
well, so.
Just wondered if they just.
No,
typing
just
away,
ignore.
that was
If it's you, Bev, we just
It's just
ignore it.
like, I said, it's again.
Depends who it is.
On that occasion then to support this and create a proposal with councillor Leicester.
No, I'm
Sustainable. Can we all vote?
just doing the okey dokey.
Carries. Thank you very much.
We're really swift tonight.
The next item
It's
is
Yeah, exactly.
26-0085. Full planning permission.
Whose Easter's is there?
Two-story extension to the side of 11 Ashley Road, Taunton.
It's me again. It's fine. No problem. Was this one be overlooking?
So
No, there was,
So this
Did I say about overlooking on this one?
there was,
need to find how.
I couldn't find it.
I kept going back and forth.
So did I.
It's weird.
I did suss it out,
So-
but I did the same.
It looked to me as if it was the same.
The front door and.
Yes,
going
and
90
it's
degrees
straight to the
outwards.
side. Yeah.
So if we go on, let's have a look on.
I
So
thought I was losing my mind. What's wrong with that?
I did. I was like,
Sorry, so as long as everything else was the same.
it's not good going.
I was starting to get tired.
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
back. So I think it might be the other one. Survey elevation, sorry, that's the one. Yeah, so on the west elevation, where that front door is on the right, build up,
That's on the
then
corner.
it goes 90
Yeah.
degrees outwards.
Was, yeah.
And then if we go back on proposed proposals. Yeah. It's actually no wider than what was there originally.
It's the
but
same
just-
footprint.
It's just,
isn't it?
it's
It's quite a clever design there.
It's quite
it
nice.
looks like it was ever thus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't, because it's quite a high pitch anyway.
Yeah.
It goes right down to the window line.
It looks like it should have been like that in the first place.
Is there just a street view? I think this is this the house on the corner of Ashley?
Yeah.
It's on the Parkfield side rather than the Wellington Road side of the road of Ashley. Isn't it?
I think one of my comments was about loss
Oh
of
no,
light.
sorry, it's the other side of the road, not where I thought it was at all.
I think loss of light for the neighbouring property. I think I picked up because they've got a window that faces directly.
Right.
It's that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
So
property on the
coming
right has got a window that looks
Oh yeah,
there, that bottom window.
yeah.
And I wondered if there's any, if they're going up.
Do you know,
Gonna
I'm
exclude
not
light.
sure how much light they get in there.
No.
Lots to comment.
Yeah.
Because they're actually,
And
if the property was going out, but it's actually
Yeah.
in line where the front door.
It's going-
was.
yeah, it's not. It's just following the line of the house, isn't it? And
And there was no.
there's
comment.
no
There's no comments from
no
the neighbours.
comments anyway.
Yeah, I always look.
Yeah.
That is. What they're getting, that's a lot of work to a property, so they must be pretty.
I think, but they're going up into the attic as well, or is it?
Mm.
Yeah, so that's what they're getting, isn't it? They're getting a proper sized flat roof in the attic, I expect. Having, or,
I think it'll actually look in line with where the house is.
It is because they're slightly out, aren't they, on
Yeah.
this side as well?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it would mirror.
all individually designed houses, so
Yeah.
it's hard to not be in keeping.
Is there any other points? Are we happy with this?
Happy?
Okay, so to support this, can we get a proposal? Councillor Furman, can we get a seconder? Councillor Fernandez, can we go to the vote? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 38-26-0060, full planning permission, demolition of the conservatory and erection of a single story extension to the rear of Polling Station 6, Nash Green, Staple Road, Taunton.
Having this report, yeah.
Okay, so if we have a look at
This pretty much just fills the footprint, doesn't it?
Was
It's
making it a more permanent structure.
I'm taking down the concern. You building from the skyline.
basically.
That roof.
Can't
It's
with that, yeah. You'd rather
So
have
that
critical.
proposed, yeah, proposed elevation. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
they just change it from
Yeah.
I,
No, yeah, fine.
No problem
fine,
at all.
Absolutely fine.
Okay, easy one.
Yeah.
To support this, there's a council Leicester, secondary council staying for careers. It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 38-26-0084, for planning permission, demolition of a single story extension, and erection of a 2-story extension to the rear of 5 Winchester Street, Taunton. So the only thing I would like to raise on this, having lived in a property like this, that where it's a they're kind of building out that little bit further, I'm just seeing whether that's going to really tighten. There's literally no space at the back of that property at all.
you want to look at the front? This is what I was probably looking at the house.
We have a look at the existing elevation. Second at the bottom. That's existing.
Got the lean to.
Is it much more than the lean to?
It's not deep. Oh, it's a little bit deeper than the lean to.
They're coming out now.
Yeah, they are coming out about.
And what's the
We have a look at the site plan.
Yeah.
plan?
The site plan would be good. Go back again. Location plan. Is that the one you're on?
Yeah.
Existing site plan. Yeah, so that, okay, yeah, that clarifies for me. I was just worried whether that space was
Good.
right up against the property.
Well, it's not.
It's not, I don't see any problem with this.
No, I think you
No.
got it's enough room.
And they're matching all the existing materials, so.
Yeah.
Was there any points? Are we happy? Yeah.
No.
Happy with it?
This, okay, close it. That's the staple, could I get a second there? So Leicester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried, thank you very much. The next item is 38-26-0071, retention of building works, etc. To conversion of garage into auxiliary accommodation at 45 Whitfield Green, Taunton, retention works already undertaken. Okay, we have a look at. Yeah, look at the garage plan. Original. Turning space.
They're putting a false cavity in and turning it into a room, basically, aren't
It's a
they?
fake room inside
Yeah.
the garage. Really.
Yeah.
It's all
I don't-
fire rect as well.
I don't see any.
Again, they're adding a double door, I suppose. That's all. That's the only visible change in it. Yeah,
As long as the access is within health and safety.
I guess. Yeah, my other favourite question: that if they're taking up the space of a double garage, is there room outside for parking?
Very good point. What is the street view or what is the? I never use it.
No, no,
Well,
one
not
does, but,
exactly
you know,
either,
but-
but some houses, if the garage is right up at the
yeah, it
front,
could,
oh,
yeah, is there space out the front? Is there a drive?
Yeah.
Well, there's the garage, or is that?
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
it's
what it's
sold.
five area.
Seems like there's loads.
It's plenty of space.
It's not, it's a cul-de-sac anyway, isn't it, Worfield Green? So it's not like it's a main road.
You pop onto a street view. You just see the driveway.
Oh, there's loads of driveway there.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, it's fine.
No worries.
Yeah, mine's houses, surfboards, golf clubs, bikes.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever seen a
It's
car.
actually, it's a lovely little cul-de-sac, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so to support this, could I get a proposal?
Yeah. Well, why not?
Could I get a second there? Councillor Fernandez, we go to the vote. That's carried. Thank you very much. And the next item is 38-26-0088-A, advertisement display of one non-illuminated single-sided monolith sign, one non-illuminated double-sided post-mounted directions sign at Taunton Travel Lodge, Anchorage Way, Taunton. Yeah, I'm going to say the same again, no problem.
It's a sign.
Yes, I think we all agree.
Yeah.
To support this, so could I get a proposal, please? That's Furman, could I get a second left? That's the state court, could we go to the vote? It's carried, thank you. And next item, 38-26-0027-LB, listed building consent works, replacement of roof structure, rafters, batten and slate due to spray foam installation being installed at North Manor Drive, Manor Road, State Road. So.
This is one for
Okay,
you.
just explain why this needs.
This is for the
revision.
builder, yeah, no idea.
Yeah, so probably in the last 15 years, I think it was government backed, but it was very, it was associated with being a great thing. So what people were doing when their roofs were kind of getting bad or they needed to get their E values up, companies were coming in and they were like, right, we'll spray your whole loft. We'll spray the foam. All that does, it sprays in some very old properties, there's no felt, so it sprays to the back of the tiles. But also they spray to the back of the old bitumen felt. But if you've got a loft, your loft is a cold roof space, so that has to be cold. There's the airflow that goes over, you've got loft wall below. When you put that spray foam on,
Seals it.
it creates a warm roof space, then it sweats, then your tiles break down, your felt disintegrates, and literally your whole house. If your rafters will rot down probably in about 10 years, you need a whole brand new roof.
Oh,
I cannot believe on listed property that somebody, they didn't need listed building works to even have the spray foam.
did you know it?
What I'm trying to say
Because
is
nobody knew, so.
it's ridiculous. So, but the funny thing is, the same companies now who were spraying it.
Now taking it back out again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, you cannot get a mortgage on a property like that.
Yeah, I know that you can't mortgages and insurance companies won't insure and it's, it's,
So the foams, fire risk.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the insurance. is a big problem.
Apart from that, it was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, waterproof.
There was a property that came up against and they had like cherry tiles, which are like really tiny decorative cherry tiles, probably half a foot long. And that whole roof, they'd sprayed onto the tiles. Neither that changed the whole roof. Yeah.
My God.
So yeah, it's not a good thing. At the end of the day, I feel sorry for these people.
And I'm guessing that you wouldn't be covered by insurance if you went and did that because you voluntarily
You
have
need
it
a proper
sprayed.
niche insurance
Mm.
to be able to cover you, but
No, but if you get it done and then realise you need to go with roof replacing, you're not covered, are you?
what's it called?
It's the lack of recourse because you've been set the path is a bit great, doesn't it?
Really not.
Ooh. Yep.
So yeah,
Beware of dodgy builders.
I fully
Corner.
understand this need.
Yeah.
Fully understand this. So yeah, I haven't got problems. with
No, of
support.
course. not.
No, totally sport. Yeah.
Well, yeah, propose that.
Yeah, why not?
That's let's look at it a second. That's brilliant. We go to that. Thank you. The next item is 38-26-0070.
I'm going to the one.
More planning permission. Installation of 24 number of market fence along Taunton, Bridgewater Canal, Taunton.
What are they marking?
Is this for
Oh,
the
this is-
planets?
Yeah,
Planet.
planets.
Oh,
The Taunton Bridgewater Canal.
yeah.
Still planet things.
It goes through the planet.
All right.
It's from.
Oh, yeah. I see. Okay. It's
but yeah.
an art type installation. It's a public information type bit of fun.
They're putting like colours common.
Oh, okay.
It's.
Ah, yeah. Cool. Sounds great. Oh, there's not 24 signs saying careful of the canal.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with this.
No.
No.
They are exactly what,
Yeah, to make
What it says on the tin.
making things look nice.
Yeah.
exactly. To support this, could I get a proposal? Councillor Fernandez, could I get a second? Councillor Fun, can we go to the vote? It's carried. Thank you very much. Right. To comment on licensing matters received from the local licensing authority, members consider applications for licensing is submitted after the page. First item is NA-61435, application for a premises license, grant a premises license to the Gala Collective Limited Park, Upper High Street, Taunton. For live music Monday to Friday, between 5 to 11. Saturday 11:30 to 11, Sunday 11:30 to 10. Recorded music Monday to Friday 5 to 11, Saturday 11:30 to 11, Sunday 11:30 to 10. Supply of alcohol on premises Monday to Friday 5 to 10:45, Saturday 11:30 to 10:45, and Sunday 11:30 to 9:45. This is an annual event for 10 days per year between May and August. That's fun.
Do we know if this is a ticketed event or is it just open to the public?
Is this just torn live? It's not that.
It's not
That's
that.
something different.
It is, yeah, it's something
I was
different.
going to say, I don't.
It's the electric event, isn't there? The electric live in August.
It's an annual event for 10 days per year between May and August.
Yeah, so it's what, 3 weekends
Oh, the jazz festival.
between.
It could be the jazz. Is it the jazz festival?
Yeah, just interested which one it is because I don't remember asking before.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with this.
No, I haven't either. It's just I wasn't sure which event it was. It was just because it's got the name of the company running it rather than the actual event. It just makes
Yeah,
it
I was just
difficult
wondering
to
at
picture,
the-
doesn't it?
Mr. Seconder, Councillor Fernandez, can we go to the vote? It's carried, thank you. The next item is MA-61245, street trading event, 1 day, street trading application, vegan market. There we go. I should have put interest.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, have you got
Vegans.
anyone who's a vegan isn't allowed to vote?
2026, this event will take place, let's just say yes now. There will be a maximum of 30 stores at Goodlands Garden, selling food, drinks, fashion, homeware, skincare, arts and craft. Every single time they do this event, it seems pretty well organised.
That space cries out for things like this.
Yeah.
You know, it's an excellent part of the town.
I'm happy to propose.
Given it's vegan, I'm surprised we hadn't heard about it already.
I know, exactly.
Councillor Fernandez, proposed, could I get a seconder? Councillor Staple, well, not letting you.
No. I was just voting quickly. That's all it was.
Then we'll go to the vote. Thank you very much. The next item is NA-61431, Taunton Independent Market, request to vary street trading consent. Request to vary a street trading consent in relation to operating hours. Currently, consent allowed Saturday and Sunday between 10 and 4. The variation seeks to amend the operation hours on Saturday and Sunday between 8 and 9. As Councillor Staple.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, actually, I think this is a good idea. I would very much support this and want to propose it because it's an area that actually would be really good if they used more in the evening. Because it just tends to, Friday and Saturday night seems to have some, youngsters in cars that park up in the area.
Yeah.
When we really should be using it.
And it'd be during the summer months in particular. It could be lovely in the evening to go to the market and have a wander around of a Saturday night.
I think it's a really good thing. Because, you know, I can imagine like pop-up food stores there on Saturday. Let's go down there every Saturday and do that.
And but even, you know, the fact that there's pubs and restaurants around it as well.
What's that?
So it's, you know, it'd be a nice area, and maybe the grassed area. It's again, it's another area that does cry out for this, and probably should have maybe done it sooner.
Well, I think the last, correct me if I'm wrong, the last evening event they had there was when it was the royal, when it was King Charles's
Oh, really?
coronation. There was a what? It was a, yeah, it was a brilliant event because it went into the evening, didn't it?
Sorry, Chad, to
It was different.
interrupt like that, but no, they're the late night shopping. They have some markets there in the evening.
Was it in there?
There are no questions. Just smashed it.
Yeah.
Really?
I think for the summer months, so I think it'd be even better.
Yeah.
I'd quite happily sit in there over an evening.
Whenever I've gone to the independent market, I always think it'd be nice if it went on longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yep.
Any other comments?
No.
So, Councillor Furman to propose, seconder, Councillor Stainforth, can we go to the vote? That's carried, thank you. The next item is NA-61442, the Chapel Tap Limited variation of premises license, extension of existing licensable hours up to 11:30 Fridays and Saturday for live music, up to 11 o'clock Monday to Sunday for recorded music, up to 11 Sunday to Wednesday, up to 11:30 Thursday to Saturday. Supply of alcohol. Councillor Stainforth.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, this is one I would support as well. I'm thinking about Chapel Tap. It's, you know, there's nothing around it in terms of apartments above it or anything. I mean, it's in the centre of town. It's a noisy-ish area anyway. I would be seeing into it. I think it's an ideal venue. It seems to be quite popular, and if it can have some music, absolutely.
I've absolutely no problem with it. Just for in future, where we say it's variable from or varying from in the notes, can we just have from what? Because all it's telling us is the new. It's not actually identifying what it was. So just a note to self, really.
Good point.
I'm just going to pick up on that one. We have the same thing. So at the minute, we've got access to the portal for planning, but we don't have access to anything additional for licensing,
okay.
which is a bit
So you
tricky.
can't see
Right,
what
no, fair enough.
But I'm hoping to organise a meeting with the head of licensing at Somerset Council and see what we can get access to.
Yeah, that'd be great because it's just like an open-ended. It's like if it was an hour and now they want it all day, you can't really tell, you know. Oh. Nearly knocked yourself off the table over.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's what standard is.
No, I don't know either. No, but no problem with it anyway. But it's just
So we could.
Cool. Okay, to support, can we get a propose? Councillor Lester, can I get a second there? Councillor Furman, can we get in the bed? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is submission of comments, feedback on behalf of the town council to notification of planning applications in the area. As per 10.1.8 of council's term of reference and scheme of delegation, the clerk is delegated authority to submit comments and feedback on behalf of the town council's nominations and notification of planning applications in the area unrequired, and in the occasion where there is an ability of the council's committee to meet within the required deadlines, which is 21 days from the notification. Is there any items on this list that you'd like to raise?
Yeah, probably.
Yes, so I'd like to look at the third one on that list, which is 38250319, which is building of 242 houses on Staple Grove West.
Item would you like to have a look at also?
Could we look at the But is there like a proposed like site plan?
Stop me if you see it. Oh, right. The proposal. Would be that additional one at the top, the State Grove West Road, B. Well, this one down there. Yeah, I think I'm going to say that might be the one. That's affordable housing schemes.
Okay, that's just the affordable housing scheme.
Well, it's open though. What percentage is being stated as affordable?
Yes.
You scroll up, I think the page above had a summary of what percentage of the total. Yeah, scroll down. I always do that. Yeah, so you've got percentage for
60% social rent.
6% social renting. Housing. So that's 36 dwellings out of the 200 and.
Yeah.
So it's just that is about 15%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's an obligation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just because I always worry about once planning's been approved, they then go back and say, actually, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's there, section 106, which is the legal agreement. So
Right, okay, so we can enforce that.
Yeah.
That's my point, yeah, okay.
The 10-year can change. It's not as black and white as it will definitely be that, and that's guaranteed. So your split of your social rented as opposed to affordable housing,
Affordable housing can change.
generally in trends recently, what will happen is towards the end of development, that number will dwindle and become affordable as opposed to social because of
Because, yeah,
the
because it's
Okay.
easy to sell, yeah. Is there anything we can actually do about that? Because I think it's, that's the sort of thing that just winds me up, to be honest.
Can council do anything about that?
Is the problem not then that, because you have to actually get the council to take on the properties and councils don't have money to take on properties. There was a thing about it recently on television. There was a whole programme about the fact that it's the argument of saying that you're asking for a certain amount of social housing, but who takes responsibility for that social housing? And it's all very well as saying, can we enforce it? But if somebody isn't there to, it's a bit like community space up in Orchard Grove saying we want a doctor's surgery, we want a pharmacy, and the shops. You can say you want them, but unless you've got a doctor who will take on a doctor's surgery, you can't have a doctor's surgery because there isn't one. It's a similar situation, whereas, and that's when they switch them across because they can do them as affordable homes where they're selling them for less. Unless you start to get more social housing through government.
Well, yeah, I'm just.
There's a money come from.
I'm more interested in that because as actually Bryony said, the trend proves. I was feeling that was the trend as well, if you know what I mean, with large developments in particular. But yeah, if that's, I don't know what to do about it. I just feel like we want to comment on the fact that we would like that ratio to be maintained. I don't suppose there's anything we can do about it if they change it.
We can put that as a comment.
Can we? Because I think it's important. I think we want social rents. We don't need affordable housing. Is just whatever it's governed by whatever the market says it is affordable. And affordable is a loose term, to be honest, as well, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah, I think we could put in approved and well, I'd like to propose saying that we approve the application, but the comment being we want to see Sunset Council
Maintain the
maintain the 15% structure for affordable or social rent.
From my point of view, it's more the social rent. I think we want to keep the ratio of social rent to intermediate housing.
Yeah, just the 15% social rent.
Yeah.
How can we we want to support the application?
Be, I guess, comment in other, would it?
general observation, is that okay?
So we've got obviously councillor Smith Roberts is the portfolio holder for social housing at Somerset Council, just if there was a conversation to be had.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Lisa.
Well, then.
Get on FaceTime.
Yes.
No, I'm happy with that. Yep, so to support and add those comments, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, could I get a proposer? Councillor Froman, let's get a seconder. Councillor Fernandez, let's go to the vote. It's carried, thank you very much. Is there any other items that you would like to see in this list?
Well,
Councillor Snowthorpe.
thanks, Chair. There's only a kind of odd one I wanted to that just caught my eye was the appeal of the variation of conditions for bat mitigation and tree protection at Westerkirk. What the variations were.
To appeal.
Yes, I did see
Is this that old building
Yes.
that they're, it's not the actual Westkirk housing, it's round the back. There's a very old building in this sad state of repair, isn't
Oh,
there?
that the one that already came to us.
I think.
Yeah.
It was to do with the bats. Potentially, but the bat housing investigation maybe. They thought that it was rejected, and that was unnecessary, but I guess that's why they're appealing.
Can you scroll down and just the
Ill questionnaire.
It's the appeal questionnaire at the top.
yeah, it's the appeal and
It's at the top, it's right at the top, the appeal.
This one.
William.
Mm.
And then possibly the officer's report.
The heritage objection to it.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, because it is a very, very old building. It needs some love, doesn't it?
Yep.
Mm.
I remember something.
Yeah.
It's just trying to understand what the changes are that they're appealing against. Terms or are they appealing against?
Illicit building, keep going down that list, say. Type of notification, something like this, letters.
You might go to the officer's comments because they
Error notification letter, like that.
This one.
Yeah. Marx has got some. The application seeks approval for an alternative to design to the windows porch in the approved extension. Removal of hanging tiles and replacement with matching render at the front floor to the eastern wing and exposure of natural stonework to this existing southwestern elevation as exposed on site. The application also seeks to vary conditions 4 and 12, which were previously discarded by a letter dated 20th of May.
so in 4 and 12 is that bat and tree? So they want that to just be discarded.
Sounds to me.
The bat, can you go back to the list and see what the officer's comments? When there's something put in for the protection of bats and trees, we don't just suddenly over appeal it and say, it's all right, don't care.
No.
If it's something to do with changing the tiles.
There's comments.
What's this report and recommendation?
Yeah, the officer's report and recommendations will be handy up. And
Oh, yeah,
the second from the top, no, third from the
third
top.
from the top.
This one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have a look at that early on, see what it says. It was just that it's an odd one that caught my eye, and I was just.
Recommendation refusal.
That's 4.1, details of proposals. Condition 2 relates to the use of render rather than the existing hung tiles, exposing an element of cob alternative design for the porch, additional glazing for the gate elevation of the garden room. Condition 4, back excavation and well treated
yeah.
relates to updating the wording following their discharge.
Yeah, so they're just making sure there ain't any bats underneath the hanging tiles out front.
Mm.
If they are, then they're saying.
They've got to put
then
in place
you
back
get rid of it.
mitigation.
You have to get back boxing.
And tree protection, is there a TPO in there, do we know?
Usual.
Oh, I'm sure, I mean, the officer must have,
Obviously, it must be the tree officer's report.
yes, it'll be in there, so I'm assuming that is in there. What is their appeal against? Is it the tiles or is it?
There's they were going to be taking off the existing hanging tiles and putting render.
Mm.
So their appeal was actually you'd be able to do that once the had your bat
So, yeah.
bat mitigation. Whereas perhaps beyond that, then
Right.
obviously
Changes
that prior. That's probably the appeal.
Okay. Thank you. That's fine.
Would we like to narrow that, or do you want to support? Were we just happy there?
I think knowing that clearly the officers have made together,
Yeah.
their comments, and I'm sure that's what they have to then
So just
abide by.
a note here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Also we've got to submit the comments that create proposed to support the comments from the town council. Councillor Fromm, create a seconder, Councillor Lester. It's carried. Thank you very much. Good.
Oh, so that's it.
Look at that.